Friends, it's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I can't even get my time straight. How about that? It should be good afternoon, good evening. Well, we do have people from around the world checking this show out, so it could be morning somewhere. But as you know, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So with that, welcome to the post-draft show. Lots to talk about, lots to get to. With what went on over the weekend with our teams. And I know highly upset with the Giants' first pick. Highly upset with that pick. Thought it was a horrible pick. And I am completely and utterly I think that Dave Gettleman does not know how to pick in the first round, because don't get me wrong, he's made some great picks later on in several drafts. But look, Barkley, don't think that was a great pick at number 3, because if he takes Sam Darnold, we're talking about the Giants winning the NFC East this year with the amount of people he's put on there, and 10 times better. Daniel Jones, I don't agree with, he's your guy, you believe in him. That's a stretch. Then trade back if that's your guy. Trade back and build draft picks. That's not the way to get it. And I think Tony was a stretch at 20. He was a stretch. I hate to say that, but it certainly seemed like it.
What's up, Jared? Yeah, Jared, we're going to get into it a little bit. You can call us near the we'll be on till 7, so maybe around like 10 to 7, quarter to 7, something like that. You can call in, buddy. Coach, in regards to your Giants, look, I don't think Tony was a horrible pick. Urban Meyer, what they said, was extremely disappointed that he wanted Tony at 25.
Right.
So obviously even more than Etienne, who they ended up drafting. But to me, it's a bit of a luxury pick. I liked moving back. I thought Gettleman was very savvy in that sense, Coach, moving back, grabbing Chicago's first-round pick, which that could be a good pick next year, and also they moved back other times. So they got an extra first, third, and fourth next year. I did like that aspect of his draft. But to me, with Tony, it's a luxury pick. Yeah, you want to give Daniel Jones everything, he needs to be successful. But to me, you spent $72 million on Kenny Golladay. You have Sterling Shepard. You have Slayton. You have Ingram. You went and got Kyle Rudolph. If he can't be successful with that, there's an issue. So now you take Tony. To me, I would have maybe even gone further back, Coach.
Right.
Go back into and I loved how the Eagles drafted him. Get Dickerson or get one of those interior linemen, because they could have had Elijah Vera Tucker. Now, not at 20, but still, I think they were going to regret not updating. I think they're good at tackle, but I'm not sure about the interior of that line. And to me, instead of getting a very good slot receiver, I would have went and got the interior lineman to fix the line for the Giants. Jason Dean, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, JD? What's up, guys?
And Jason, real curious to see what you think. I know at first you were upset, and obviously you calmed down in regards to the Raiders. And, Coach, do you mind if I comment on, since Jason Dean's in, real quick, if I comment on the Raiders?
Go ahead.
One thing I would say about that, I like Leatherwood. I think he's going to be a good lineman. I really do. And you get a little bit lucky, and Morig falls in the second round. So when you look at it, you say, well, we would have took Morig in the first, and, Leatherwood would have been second. It works out. But my whole point is, Mayock knows these boards. This is what the guy used to do for the NFL Network. And to me, like the Eagles did, where they traded back and got a first-round pick, like your Giants did, traded back, got a first-round pick, like the Dolphins completely manipulated the draft. The Raiders should have done that. Leatherwood would have been there in the top part of the second round. So if you're worried, go back to the back part of the first round if you're a little bit concerned. but they could have got some draft capital to get more guys on defense to help that team. I don't have a problem with the pick. If that's your guy, get him. But they could have manipulated the draft and gotten more. And this isn't the first time. The same thing happened with Cleveland Farrell when they drafted him at 4, and everybody thought Arnett was a reach last year too. So that's my only point. And look, everybody's saying it's wait and see. But Farrell hasn't really worked out, and Arnett's only played 1 year, but that hasn't really worked out too. They were called reaches, and now them kind of look like possible busts. So, and the other thing is too, Leatherwood, sorry, Coach, was a left tackle going to move to right tackle, and Derishaw was on the board. So that's what I question. But if he's your guy, he's your guy. I just thought they could have played the draft better. Go ahead, Coach.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. Also, if the Jacksonville wanted Tony that bad, then you know what? Let them trade up to the Giants and get some more capital and trade back to 25.
Yeah.
But I just don't see, you drafted a receiver in an already crowded receiver room. You didn't. My biggest thing with your first round pick needs to be a guy that walks into that building and is starter day one.
Right.
You drafted a guy who is not a starter day one. Tell me where he fits. Is he going to beat out Shepard for the slot? Is that what you're telling me? Because you signed Ross as well. If you remember, we signed Ross, and he's supposed to be the speed guy, and he's kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, that he's not a legit number 1 receiver or even a number 2 guy. I don't see where you went with that pick. And great, you got your pass rusher in the second round, but okay, but again, in the second round, why? Like you said, manipulate the draft a little bit more. Now, granted, the Giants got some extra picks. We're going to have 2 number 1s next year, and we may need it because we might be trading for Aaron Rodgers here shortly.
Yeah. Hey, and we'll get into that later because I have some spots that I think are perfect for Aaron Rodgers and Jason Dean. Coots, great pickup. Love him. Think he also played at the same college as Khalil Mack, but I like him. He's a good off-the-edge rusher, gets low. Diablo, I also like. He's one of those – he's a like Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah. Poor man's not as good, not as fast, but he's that hybrid safety linebacker, Coach. You know what I mean? That they're really starting to go to in the league, and he's a tackling machine. So I thought the Raiders really did good in later rounds. I just thought they could have – I don't dislike the pick. I mean, he was the Outland Trophy winner. He's going to be a road grader for, running the ball. So I like it in that sense. But what I just question is just the offseason in a whole, releasing the linemen, making it become a need on offensive line when you had enough players for offensive line. And they really need some help on defense. And, we'll see what happens. We'll see if Gus Bradley can get that team going, because the big thing I thought they missed in the second half of the year was they struggled to run the ball. So maybe Leatherwood will help them do that, and we will see what's going on. Stiz and
Stiz, what do you got?
Eagles?
Some funky tobacco, wacky tobacco in the cigars? Because I don't think so.
That was sneaky. And obviously, when they got Tony, Coach, they were going to draft Devontae Smith. So it's a win for the Eagles. And I know a lot of Giants fans. Coach, I saved that video, shared that video to Coach's page. If you want to see, it was hilarious because the guy's like, man, they kept us out of the playoffs. Now they're taking our pick. So, look, in regards to the Eagles, love it. I thought they did a great job. I think they need a guy like Smith. You need to give Hurts the players. You got to see what he can do. And, Coach, too, and you can back this up. I said I like Dickerson before the Eagles even took him. I love Dickerson, and I've said that numerous times.
I agree with you. I agree there, but what I don't agree with the Eagles is they went out, they drafted a running back it's already on your roster. You got another Miles Sanders, basically. Where's the different back?
I agree. I agree with that, but you're not going to be perfect. But I like the draft. Like I said, I think Smith was a help. And look, that Eagles offense, I was a little surprised. Coach mentioned it, and this is actually Coach brought it up today, was Ertz wasn't traded. So you look at this offense now, Coach. You plug in Landon Anderson to play left guard, okay? You got Kelsey.
Landon
Landon Dickerson.
Oh, Landon
on the
Dickerson,
Eagles.
sorry.
You plug in Dickerson at left guard. You plug in Kelsey at center, Pro Bowler. Brandon Brooks, right guard, Pro Bowler. Lane Johnson, right tackle, Pro Bowler. I think they may keep Ertz now. We'll see. So you have Ertz and Goddard, and then you got Smith, and you got some wideouts, and then you got Miles Sanders, who I think is going to have a Pro Bowl year behind that offensive line. So offensively, I like where we're at. We're going to have – our defense is getting older, and that's what we're going to need to rebuild. But the Eagles, everybody who thinks they're going to suck, Eagles will win. I'll bet anybody they win at least 7 games this year. I think they could be 500. I think there's a lot of teams.
Well, they can't be 500 now. Remember, there's 17 games, so they can't be 500.
Well, right. No, I know that. You're
one
right.
up or one down.
Around that 8 and 9, that's what I'm saying, that 8 and 9 record. I think they're going to be 7, 10, 8 and 9, maybe even 9 and 8. I think the NFC East is going to beat up on each other. I think a lot of these teams are close. I think the Giants are the best team. I think the Giants are the most balanced team because I think the Eagles have a weakness on defense. And you got some inexperience on offense in regards to your quarterback position and receivers. I think the Giants are the most balanced. I think the Dallas has a severe defensive problem, and I think Washington has a very big offensive problem. And then Washington, to a surprise, goes out and takes a defensive player in the first round.
Yeah, that surprised me too. Frank, thanks for checking us out, Frank. We'll get to Jacksonville. I'm not, they had an okay draft. We'll see.
I like it. I like what Jacksonville did. We'll get into Frank. We will get into some of the other drafts later on. Right now, we're touching on NFC East. In regards to the Cowboys, Coach, Parsons, I think, is a nice player, but you already had 2 Pro Bowl linebackers in Van Der Esch and Smith.
That wasn't a spot. I
think they were very upset. Because if you look at them, I think they wanted Horn or Surtain. And you're sitting there at 8, you're saying, all right, they're both on the board. And then boom, boom, they come off the board. And that's why, obviously, I think you saw them trade back with the Eagles. And look, Parsons is the best player in the draft. But Dallas has severe secondary troubles. They really need some help in the secondary.
I agree. They do. And I thought they would have addressed that, maybe even try to trade back a little bit further and pick up a corner at that point.
And thank you, Stiz, 8-8-1. So they could go 500. 8-8-1. Thank you, Stiz.
Well, technically, if they're 8-8-1, they're like 5. They're not exactly 500.
Yeah.
I forget the numbers. We'll have to get Kenny, the basketball guru, to tell us the exact .67, whatever it is, So with that, but we'll see how it goes this year. But I think that NFC East is really going to be maybe the winner is 11-6, and the loser, the bottom of the division is 9-8, something like I think it's like a 2-game, 3-game difference at most between top and bottom.
From 1 to 4, there's not a division that's closer. I don't think there's a huge gap between your first team and the 4th place team. And honestly, Coach, as crazy as it seems, I said this to you the other day, depending on injuries and things, I wouldn't be shocked if any of the 4 teams won it and any of the 4 teams were in last place. That's how close it really is, depending on injuries and things. Like I said, I think the Giants are the best team. I do. But you never know. Injuries, things happen. We will see what happens. Jared, for 17 games. 9-7-1. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's the Giants' division to lose, no doubt about it. But, it's a big prove it. There's about 5 QBs who are on huge, prove it this year, type thing. Stafford's one of them. And obviously, Coach Daniel Jones, I mean, obviously when you're playing in New York, there's always pressure. But they really have, going into last year, Coach, there wasn't a ton of expectations. Now there are.
Right.
Last year you floated with the playoffs. And this year, I would call it, I really think if they don't make the playoffs, and unless something crazy happens in their injuries, I really think you could see them move on from Daniel Jones.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. I think, the Giants were, supposed to stay in the kiddie side of the pool, and they flirted with the deep end quite a bit. And now, you know what? You want to play in the deep end? Here you go. And you're going to swim or sink. And we're going to be moving on from Daniel Jones after this football season.
Right.
I believe, because I just don't think that he is, is the guy. He is just not the guy, unfortunately. And you're going to see Sam Darnold have a tremendous season in Carolina. You're going to see them make some strides because he's going to be, they went out and put some pieces around him and said, we're picking up your 5th-year option. We're going to, put some pieces and some faith in you. And I think they're going to have some success.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of interesting things. Just like with the Falcons. I mean, I feel for any defensive coordinator that's going to try to have to put the game plan in against the Falcons this year. When you think, okay, we got Julio Jones. Oh, we got Calvin Ridley. Oh, you got Kyle Pitts. I mean, talk about a nightmare for a defensive coordinator. It's going to be very interesting to see how that offense does this year.
I am not completely sold that Julio Jones is on that roster by June 1st.
It's possible. I just think they want I don't know what the compensation is going to be. I think they want a first-round pick to part from him. I don't know that they're going to get that. I mean, Julio Jones, I think, still has 2 or 3 good years in him. But we will see. We will see. I'm not 100% sure how much is left of him. Now, Coach, if you want to touch on the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco, if you heard today, now supposedly he wants the general manager fired to play. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
That's what they said. And to me, it's like, I don't know. If you don't want to be somewhere, you don't want to be somewhere. Like, it sounds awful petty for a guy of his stature to say, which is why I don't believe it. Like,
I believe it because, listen. But
you're going to look back, Coach.
Wait a second. He has been a kind of for lack of a better term, kind of a bitch. Yeah. He has been that kind of guy with that attitude, and granted, you don't see it off the field. He's went on the field and he has played lights out, and I think he has kind of been that, that guy that really isn't in the locker room. And I think that the Packers just bet on the wrong horse. I think we would be saying right now, if Aaron Rodgers had a crappy year, that everyone would be saying, oh man, the Packers saw the future. They saw the future and by getting Love. And, it just,
prickly might have been a little bit of a better word than
prickly.
For lack of a better word, and that's what you come up with.
You're right, I apologize. I can't.
But
you know what? It is. But the Packers tried to do what the Giants did. With you asked Eli to be the stopgap and the starter at the same time, and obviously different time because Eli did diminish. He fell off a cliff pretty quick. Yeah. And Aaron didn't. Aaron just went out and played lights out. So, You know what? I don't know. And I agree with you. You know what? Just walk out the door. I'm not playing. Trade me or, I've made enough money because he sits out a year and comes back. I know the age thing, but you're telling me someone's not going to sign him next year if he sat out a year?
And that's why I don't think he's saying fire this because, he's going to get a lot of heat for that. Can you put up Stiz's question? Because honestly, Stiz, the way I think it goes, I think he's going to be there this year. It's hard to move a guy with that kind of contract this year. Teams have made their plans, and he kind of waited last minute because the best deal they were going to get was draft night from San Francisco. Supposedly, it was Garoppolo, the 3rd pick, other players, and draft picks. So you get a guy like Garoppolo. Yes, it's not Rodgers, but still, it's a formidable quarterback so that you're not throwing Jordan Love under the bus. You got the number 3 pick and other picks. So you could add a player. There's some things you could have done. I think he stays this year, but I think what he's starting to do is open the door to be gone after this year. I think this will be his last year in a Packers uniform, and he will leave. And he is starting to position or, maneuver his exit from Green Bay. It's going to be tough to get a contract like his. Now, a lot of it, half of it will be done after June 1st, so that will help matters. But how many teams out there, have the cap space to bring him on? But like I said, now, if it does happen, like I said, he said supposedly Raiders, Broncos, Bears. Now, I think the Broncos might have the cap room. But the one team I think, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'd want to go to, Cleveland Browns. I don't think he fits better than – I think San Francisco would be perfect, no doubt. But now they've taken Trey Lance. So that ship sailed.
Right.
It would have been perfect. He wanted to be drafted by San Francisco. He grew up a Niners fan. He grew up in the area. That would have been they're a quarterback away from a Super Bowl. That would have been a perfect situation. That's not going to happen now, after the third pick with Trey Lance. So to me, the Browns it's a great situation. Great, great, great situation. He goes in there. You got Odell Beckham Jr., you got Landry, Austin Hooper, and Ndakwa, the tight end. You got a top three offensive line, and Chubb and Kareem Hunt. With Aaron Rodgers, are you kidding me? And do you know obviously how much better of a quarterback you're getting from Baker Mayfield to Aaron Rodgers? I think the Browns right now are a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they will. But they're one of the better teams in the AFC. You put Rodgers on there, to me, they are right there with the Chiefs and the Bucs, and those would be the top three teams. So that's where I want to go. Look, supposedly Jason Dean, he said, like I said, he has said Vegas. There are rumors. I think he's dating somebody in Hollywood, and he wants to be out on the West Coast.
Right.
So that's part of it. You look, Broncos are West Coast, Raiders are West Coast. So we'll see. But, Coach, what do you think? I think he stays one more year, but he is starting to maneuver his exit.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll probably play one more year, but I think, like you said, after June 1st, I could see a team putting something together and getting him, going. I think I tell you who's probably a little disappointed that this didn't come out sooner is the Rams, the LA Rams, because I'm sure they would have backed up the Brinks truck for that and taken that on and did that.
I just don't know if they would have, would the Packers have taken on Goff. But when you think about it, you're getting a quarterback back, and they got the extra first-round picks too. So you're getting Goff, 2 firsts. And look, boy, that would have been interesting too. Rodgers with a McVay type, that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting too, and that's a good point. But, man, we will see. Could you imagine if somehow he does go to the Raiders and you got Herbert, Rodgers, and Mahomes in one division?
Right.
That would be just fun to watch. It really would be.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy that is afraid of something like that, where, and again, like Tom Brady, he went in, he thought, I'm going to face Drew Brees, at least they got to do it one time around. But, wasn't afraid of the competition, where I know if you remember when Peyton Manning was looking around, he went to a division that really wasn't, I didn't want to play against this guy twice. I didn't want to do this. It was one of those things. So,
well, I think, remember, he said, I believe he said he didn't want to go to the NFC East because Eli, right?
Right. He didn't want to play Eli, which, come on now. Right. Because I think the Redskins did offer a lot.
Right. And you know what? I don't get that. To me, not that I would, if me playing my brother, I wouldn't, I would enjoy the competition and want to beat him more,
right.
But look, that's the Manning brothers. That's like I said, that's up to them. Real quick too, I want to shout out, Coach. My niece is watching right now, so let me just say hello to my beautiful little niece Vanessa Ray, who is a big Coach Muddle fan. We'll have to have her on one day, man. She's a little pistol. Yeah.
All right, definitely, man. We'd love to have her on. So,
do you want to go
be fun. And
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to show a picture of your rental car to everyone. The clown car that you're driving around.
So obviously not a good Friday for Nevada Nick. Gotten a little fender bender with my Beamer, so it needed to go into the shop. I called him up, called Enterprise up, and I said, look, I want a full-size car. I'm a bigger guy. I don't want some little, Ford Fiera or, one of these cars. So I go out, and it's a two-door car. And I'm like, I go to the guy, and I'm like, hey, man, I said I wanted a full-size car. I asked for an Altima. And he says, you didn't ask for a small car? I said, dude, do I look like I would ask for a small car? And then he's like, well, at least it's a convertible. I said, at least it's a convertible. You're going to need to be a convertible to fit my ass in the car. I mean, every time I go over a speed bump, I say a prayer, Coach. I mean, it's insane. I mean, I'm driving this little car. I mean, it's like you might as well put me in a smart car. It's not a it wasn't. It wasn't
the
good.
cloud music driving around with you.
Yeah. So I'm going from a BMW to a Buick Cascada or something. It's not a good look for me. Not very happy, but we'll deal with it. I'll have the car back hopefully in a week and a half, and no plugs for Enterprise. I was going to get my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I could have, and I said, I'll just go with the Ultima. And of course, they say Endor, but they said Charger, and they bring up this little car. And the guy got out. I'm like, this better not be my car. This better. And he's like, this is your car. Yeah, I got the jaws of life ready. So, wasn't happy about that. Now, Coach, we want to talk about some other teams with the draft, specifically teams that we think had good drafts. I actually thought Joe Douglas did a good job with
I
the
was
Jets.
just going to say I thought the Jets had a great draft. They really hit some, I think maybe they overpaid a little bit jumping up to get the offensive lineman.
Right. But they have so much draft capital, Coach.
Right.
They kind of had a guy they wanted, and he's very flexible. He's played every position on the line, just like my guy Landon Dickerson has. Landon Dickerson's played all 5 spots. But, Coach.
All right. It was all good, Denise, until you put up the Eagles on there. By the way, I just want you to know, if you need somebody to fill in for you want a good looking guy that can actually fit into the picture frame, you let me know. I'll be a stand-in for Nevada Nick, and whatnot. So you just let me know.
And that's what's funny, Coach. She calls Stiz EJ Stiz instead of Stiz. She actually asked where he was today. And I said, Stiz is at work. And she said, oh, why? So he can get Mr. Softy? I said, yeah, that's why he said. That's why he's at work, so he can get Mr. Softy. My hand to God, that's what she said today. But no, in regard to the dress draft, I like it. But as you know too, Coach, it's all going to matter on one pick, Zach Wilson. Yeah, if he hits, it's going to be a great draft. If he doesn't, even if the other guys do well, it's going to be what if. Should we have kept Sam Darnold? But I love Elijah Vera-Tucker. I really like Elijah Moore, the receiver.
Right,
I thought he was a first-round pick
out
of Ole Miss. I really like him, and I like Bateman, too, who ended up going to the Ravens. I liked both those guys. I actually had them higher than Tony, the receiver from Florida, who ended up going – because Tony, like you called, he's like a one-trick pony. He really is. He's a slot receiver, and I think a guy like that you wait to the second or third round to get. But they also got running back out of North Carolina, Michael Carter, who I really like.
He was supposed to go high. He was supposed to be higher. He was supposed to go higher than he did. Well, they lucked out there, I think. Yeah. And I think they solidify that offensive line because Sam Darnold running for his life. Also, you pair Moore with now you have Mims, who was another guy they got last year who fell out of the first round into the second round. He wasn't healthy a lot last year. So if he could be healthy with Moore, I think you have two nice weapons on the outside. And they solidified that offensive line with getting the kid from last year. What is it? Becton, and now the USC kid. So that's going to be really good, I think. And they addressed some of their defensive issues too. They did well in the offseason with the free agency. I think the Jets will make a little bit of noise this year.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
then
saying
also
I'm
too,
not saying pump the
Right.
brakes. I'm not saying they extinguished the dumpster fire by any means
right.
over there in Florida Park. But what I'm saying is they may have contained that fire a little bit.
Step in the
And,
right direction.
it's
Yeah.
going in the right direction.
And look, Joe Douglas, I've always said I really like him. And they have 2 first-round picks next year too. And I like I said, they also got 2 second-round picks because they got the second-round pick from the Panthers.
Right.
So they got some picks next year. They got some cap room. They have the not free agent, but they have the linebacker who will be playing this year who opted out. The guy from the Ravens, help me out.
Right.
I can't remember his name. Drawing a blank.
Yeah,
But he opted out, and he'll be, they give him the big deal. He'll be playing this year, so that'll help. You guys think we'll have the best year? Harris, Etienne, or Williams? Oh, it's a good question, Stiz. Man, I'm going to go. It's tough, but I'm going to go probably. I like Harris the most just because, I think the
Steelers didn't fix the offensive line, though.
But that's the problem. They didn't fix their offensive line. So I think it's going to be Etienne. I think Harris is the best, but they struggled to run the ball last year, and now you lose Pouncey and Villanueva. So
and the other tackle retired as well. So you lost 3 key offensive linemen there.
Yeah, a lot of questions about the Steelers. Now, look, I do think he's more talented than Blake Snell and James Conner. So I think Harris is going to help. But you know it too, Coach. You can be a great running back. Ask Barry Sanders. If you got a bad line, it's not going to help. I mean, and Barry was just special.
Right.
Yeah, I think Harris is the best, but Etienne probably has the best stats just because, I think Urban Meyer is going to utilize him properly. I think the Jags are going to run the football. They got a tackle as well, and you already have Cam Robinson at left tackle. Right. So, and I like Trevor Lawrence, and I think Urban will, he's good. You know how it is, Coach. You got to the pro guys got to catch up to the college coach at first. You can, you saw it with Chip. He kind of caught the NFL by surprise at first,
right?
And then they adjusted, and he couldn't adjust from that. Now,
right.
I think Urban will do better than Chip, but we'll see what happens early on. And and look, he's also going to get help because I think they'll run some RPOs, and Lawrence can move a little bit. So, I think it's going to be very interesting. And that's another team, the Jags. I thought that did pretty well on draft day. But, both the Jets and the Jags got a lot of, long way to go,
They do, but I think that Williams will have the better, because you got to remember the offensive coordinator coming from that Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco 49er offense, and you're going to see them run the football, and I really think that he's going to be he's going to fit that system really well and really take a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
Yeah, another team, Coach, I thought really did well to help he'll be a second-year QB. I love what the Chargers did. You go out and grab the best free agent center in Corey Lindsey to get to help your line.
Right.
You draft Rashawn Slater, who some people had higher than Sewell at tackle.
Right. Yep.
In the first round. And then this is a guy I was looking at for the Eagles and was surprised where he was at. But you grab Asante Samuel Jr. at corner to put into that defense with Derwin James returning. Chargers are going to be good. And let's not forget, they get Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator from the Rams. Now, he doesn't have as much talent, obviously, from the as he did on the Rams with the Chargers. But I like him. I think he's a young defensive mind. I think he's really going to help that defense. And, the Chargers' offense was clicking on all cylinders last year. The defense was the issue. And now you get James back. You add Asante Samuel Jr. I like what the Chargers are doing.
And I think it was more of a coaching issue than what the defense, because, they were the year before. They were a top defense, and they were, they were a quarterback away. They were a quarterback away. And then they just went to
one name too for the Chargers. Just remember Josh Palmer. Stiz, remember that name, Josh Palmer. They drafted him in the third round receiver out of Tennessee, and Tennessee's been a dumpster fire to be nice. Remember this year, everybody, they were a top 25 team. They were a dumpster fire again.
Right.
Watch Josh Palmer. I think he's going to fit nicely into that Chargers offense with already having Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They drafted a tight end as well to make up, and they also got Jared Cook too, because obviously they did lose Hunter Henry to the Patriots, but like what the Chargers did, think they finally, they did. I was just talking about, Palmer from Tennessee. I like what they did, and they are going to protect Herbert. I really like what me and Stiz were. You think great minds think alike, Stiz, but I like what the Chargers did, and I'll tell you, at AFC West is going to be tough because I like what Broncos. I thought did well getting a cornerback. You get Bradley Chubb and Von Miller back. If they can get Teddy Bridgewater to play, decent football like he did with the Saints, Broncos could be dangerous too. And let's not forget the Chiefs. You go out, you get Joe Thuney. They get Creed Humphrey, center from Oklahoma, to play center. And obviously they make that trade to get the tackle. Ain't going to have offensive line problems this year. So I think the Chiefs had a nice, Andy knows the importance of offensive line, especially after the Super Bowl. So, I like what Andy did to shore up that offensive line, and the Chiefs actually probably improved, as as crazy as that is to think. And they also got that kid Bolton from Missouri, who I like too.
Yeah, the linebacker who was still around. Yes. But who else? I still think what I really like, one of my picks that I liked was Kyle Trask going to the Buccaneers. I think that's a great situation for him.
Does it get better than that, Coach?
I mean, sit behind Tom Brady for 2 or 3 years, and then
Florida. Went to Florida too. So you're in the same state. You play behind Brady, and then Coach, you're going to go behind that good young team with the offensive line's young and decent. You got a pretty young defense, and you'll have Mike Williams and Chris Godwin, and a lot of people forget too, but the tight end's coming back this year, O.J. Howard.
Right.
So they're going to get better.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's perfect for him. He didn't want to go to a team and then it's like, you were going to plug him in and throw him in too early. This is what he needed. And I agree with you. He couldn't have fell to a better position. I like it a lot. And another team, too, I want to give, my Dolphins. I thought the Dolphins, wow. So Chiefs just got Jerick McKinnon, too. Thanks, Diz. But, I thought the Dolphins had a great draft too. I mean, Dolphins they had no picks after the third round, but they got 4 or 5 quality guys. Get the tackle Eckenberg out of Notre Dame.
Yep.
They get Waddle in the first round. They get Jalen Phillips, the defensive end, with their second pick at 18 in the first round. I just like what the Dolphins are doing, and the big question is going to be, is Tua good enough? And if he's not, they will move on right after this year. I think they expect big things in Miami and are hoping to contend for a Super Bowl by next year. If Tua doesn't work,
right? And now, I mean, Buffalo, because the Dolphins, I didn't expect Buffalo to pop up like they did, and now you have Buffalo, and look, the Jets are making some moves. They're going to make some noise, and has Bill Belichick found Tom Brady 2.0, and are they going to be back? Because you remember, everybody, the Patriots were off, but half their defense opted out last year. Yeah. So you're going to have their defense back, and now you're going to have a nice young quarterback. Does he have the pieces around? They have some tight ends, and can they do that? I think it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I like the Mac Jones pick, Coach, and too. Let's not forget too, Christian Barmore. A lot of people had him going in the teens. He fell to them in the second round, defensive tackle out of Alabama, and he's perfect for them. That 3-4 system, you need that guy that's going to eat multiple gaps up in the middle for that 3-4 defense.
He's that Vince Wilfork.
He's that Vince Wilfork type guy,
yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
So that works for them. He had a great playoff in college, Barmore. So, and then I like the D and Ronnie Perkins they got as well from Oklahoma. So I like what the Patriots did. You get Dante Hightower back, and look, they just, Bill. Like we talked about the Raiders before about playing the draft, he didn't get impatient. He waited. He watched the board, and Mac Jones fell to him. So, I mean, he could have went and all panicked like some of these guys do,
Yep.
gave up a first-round pick in a future year, but he sat back, waited, and I think he got his guy. And I'm really curious to see how that works out. And I really think Cam isn't going to be for long. I see
Right.
Mac Jones in there by game 5 or 6. I really do. Maybe earlier, Coach.
Yeah, I agree. 100% with that because Cam, don't unpack your bag, buddy, because you're not in New England long.
Yeah.
So.
And Coach, did you want to talk a little bit too? Because to me, there've been a lot of rumors about dissension in the Eagles front office. And,
kind of a little bit embarrassing. You knew the TV was on.
But to put that video on, when after you make picks, they're going into your war room.
Right.
I mean, just embarrassing to me. And look, I get there's animosity sometimes. And I get, too, you got these guys like Tom Donahue that are football lifers, that have been scouts and, watch film, go to these games and watch these guys all year for some little nerd like Howie Roseman to not listen to you. And that's what happened. The Eagles were at 70, traded back to 73, and the rumor is they wanted Aaron Robertson. Tom Donahue wanted Aaron Robertson, quarterback from UCF, the year Giants took at 71, and he was upset. And you could see Howie's like jumping around, fist bumping people, and he goes to Donahue, and Donahue just had no part of it. And then you could see Howie puts his arm to his side like, what's the problem? But it's just for both parts. You can't show that kind of stuff. And look, it happens in war rooms. Not everybody's going to agree on a pick. And I actually like who Howie went with in the 3rd round. I think he's going to be a good pick. But it fuels into the media's thing that there's dissension in the front office. And it just not a good look for the Eagles. And if you're a free agent and stuff, much like Joe Judge did with that passionate speech he had after the Eagles game, which I thought really – meant something to free agents, and I really thought was almost like him cutting a promo, Coach. You know what I mean? And I really thought it spoke to a lot of players. If you're a free agent and you see these kind of things, it's not good for the Eagles.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. I agree that, all this stuff coming out with Carson Wentz and everything, and now all of a sudden, and then you see that, I mean, it kind of tells you that, really, is this a place that I want to go to? I mean, do I really want to go here? So,
and speaking of Carson Wentz, how about the Colts taking a quarterback?
Yeah.
I wonder if Carson's upset again.
Yeah, I know. Is he going to start crying?
In the 5th or 6th round. You know what I mean? I think it was Sam Ellinger, quarterback from Texas.
Yes.
But, hopefully he takes it with a grain of salt this time.
Well, I don't know that he can. I don't know that he can. So unfortunate. So
he didn't have the mentality for Philadelphia. He really didn't.
Right. It's a working class city, and he doesn't come across as a working man's man. You know what I'm saying? He's not he doesn't come across as a lunch pail guy. Kind of like, Jim Kelly or one of those type of guys. He just didn't really fit in from Jump Street. Yeah,
and when you look at Philly teams, the guys they love, Chase Utley, Pete Rose,
yes,
Allen Iverson. You know what I mean? They didn't care if he practiced. He played hard in the games. That's all.
Practice.
Yeah.
Practice.
So, Coach, you want to get into a little NBA talk before?
Sure. As long as we include my Knicks, man. Solidifying that 4 seed, baby, home court.
Yeah, and which is just unbelievable when you think about it. But no, and look, the Knicks are playing good basketball at the right time. They might come in. I think you're going to see them because it looks like where they're at right now, they would play the Hawks in the 1st round. If it stays like that, you're going to see your Knicks in the 2nd round of the playoffs. I really believe that. And
I'm excited. I think they need that in order to get that free agent, that big
the words out of my mouth.
There.
Because I think, too, you got a lot to sell. You can say, look, we got Julius Randle, who, I mean, he's a star now. He's an all-star. He's really starting to prove himself. They're winning. Thibodeau's coaching. They look good. They got a good young team. The one I'm a little surprised, Derrick Rose has worked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It concerned
me. And we both thought that was a mistake. But he's worked out. But the one thing I wanted to talk about now, the Lakers couldn't do nothing about it because LeBron and Anthony Davis were hurt.
Right.
But a team like the Clippers, who have kindly they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit because Kawhi had hurt his foot, and he sat for a week. Well, now they've lost 3 straight, and now they're playing the Lakers in the first round. And these teams, they just don't value regular season games, and it's like positioning matters, Coach. Home court matters. Right. Matchups matter. And you look at the Clippers. I mean, right now, they would play the Mavericks, but there's a good chance they may end up playing the Lakers. And it's just, what are you doing? You got to win these games to get a better matchup. Do you want to take the?
Absolutely, I agree. I agree 100% in that. And that's kind of why who watches regular season basketball anymore?
Yeah,
that's the reason why.
Yeah, it don't matter.
We're low. What is it? They call it the loading or whatever they call that. Load management.
Load management.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and like I said, you're in a position now. The Clippers. So from the 5, 6, 7 are all tied right now between the Mavericks, Lakers, and Blazers. And look, you could if you're the Clippers, and look, the Nuggets have reached them, and that's with Jamal Murray being out for the year. So, it's just kind of surprising that the Clippers, who I thought they'd bounce back a little bit after last year, where they kind of got embarrassed. Yeah. You lose in the second round and get upset by the Nuggets. And it looks like, hey, man, same thing's going to happen this year. They're going to, be bounced out early. And, all that. They thought when Kawhi was going there, they had bought themselves a title.
Right. Absolutely. I think you're right. You're right with that. Yeah. So we'll see how it all plays out as we wind down. What is this, the last week of NBA of the NBA? More weeks.
Yeah, the 16. Yeah, Stiz has got them over 46.5, and they're at 43. They need to go 4-3 down the stretch. And you guys think, Coach, they had to go 4-6 in the last 10. They've lost 3 straight now. So Stiz is biting. They got Stiz biting his nails now, smoking on 2 cigars to.
Well, Stiz, you should have listened to Coach. Had the Knicks, you'd been counting your money already, like me. But
he's already counting his money. He took the Suns, which that covered weeks ago. That was a good over under. So we'll see what happens, but I think the NBA playoffs, man, it's going to be interesting. In the East, you got the Sixers, who now have taken back the 1 seed, which I'm happy about. Nets, Bucks play again tomorrow night. I think it's one of those 3 teams. I think it's the Sixers, Nets, or Bucks. Nets are going to be dangerous. What I don't like, man, you haven't had those 3 guys play together, and you're just going to let, much like we were talking about with the Clippers, Coach. Yep. You're just going to have them kind of getting in there, maybe the last week before the playoffs, or they're going to start. You don't work on chemistry in the playoffs, and you're seeing it with the Lakers. The Lakers got LeBron back. I think everybody thought, oh, okay, LeBron's back. We're going to start winning games, and they haven't. They lost their first 2. You know how it is, Coach. Chemistry matters, and that's one thing that's going in your favor, the Knicks. Yeah, I did, Stiz. But no, that's the one thing the Knicks got going. They got a lot of chemistry right now, and they're playing hard. And I'll tell you, if I was a team, I wouldn't want to play them. I mean, just they're gritty. They're playing hard. They play very good defense. They're not going to be an easy out for any of these teams.
Yeah, I think the Knicks are top 3 defense in the league right now. So
yep.
They're playing pretty well. I think they need to go find a legit 3-point shooter. I think they're really lacking, especially in today's game. They need a legit 3-pointer. One of those guys that can give you a steady diet of threes. And I don't think the Knicks have a guy on the roster.
Coach, they're not top 3. When you talk about opponents' points per game, the Knicks are first in the NBA.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Right. And that's they are technically that's top 3. They're just number 1. But
they're number 1. They're top 1, Coach. And that's the signature of a Tom Thibodeau team. That's what Tibbs likes to do. He likes to play defense, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. And look, I'm hoping, man, because I was a Knicks fan when I was younger, and I remember I had said before, it's good when New York teams are good. It's good for sports. It just is. Yeah. And no doubt, even LeBron tweeted it. It's good for basketball when the New York Knicks are relevant and good. And I really think now why wouldn't you want to, hopefully the whole Dolan stuff is kind of a moot point now, and some of these free agents come to New York because, look, with this team right now, if you get a decent free agent, just shame Giannis, man. He went. Could you imagine if you had a guy like Giannis to the Knicks? They'd be right up there. I don't know about the finals, but they would be, Eastern Conference. They would be, definitely in the run for it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. Hopefully, the Knicks can pull one out and get some. I'm looking forward to the offseason, see if we can get somebody, a big name, finally to come to the Big Apple. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, it has. And they've tried. They've tried every year. And it's just, Durant, I think it was down to the Knicks, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it was, and he went to the Knicks because Durant can never do anything on his own. Durant, that's just Durant, and, that's your choice. But you know what, man? You went and got your title. Do you realize if you went to New York, and now you look at the team with Durant, they'd have been pretty damn good. And could you imagine, I think you'll agree with this, he could have had, I think he had 2 or 3 titles in the Warriors, but he could have had 5 titles there. 1 title in New York would have blown all 5 of those out. Because he'd have been the guy, and it would have just like LeBron. He could have those 2 titles in Miami. That 1 in Cleveland changed everything for LeBron's legacy. Right. Because he was the guy. I know he had Kyrie, but that was LeBron's team, and that changed his legacy flat out.
Right. Absolutely. I agree. So, all right, you got anything else there, Nevada Nick? I forgot, because we missed it out. It was, busy weekend with the draft, but, we did have a little horse race on Saturday. How'd you do?
I missed the superfecta by 1 horse, and if I would have put Baffert's horse in, I would have won 9,500. Well, I did great. I crashed my car Friday, missed the superfecta for 9,500 by 1 horse on Saturday. Wasn't my weekend. But, look, Medina, and congrats to Baffert. I mean, he set the record. He was tied for 6 wins in the Kentucky Derby, won the 7th, broke the record. And even my buddy said, watch out for the Baffert horses. Stiz said, watch out for the Baffert horses. You want to take that or no?
Take what?
We're getting a call, I think. Is
we
it
are.
showing up for your thing? Yeah, is it showing up for you or no?
No, it's not showing up for me at all.
Yeah, I can see he's calling. It must not be going through to the thing. Do you have the phone on?
Through. Yeah, it's. You know what? It's spinning. I don't know. Let me see if I can reset the thing here.
Jared, I see you calling. I can see.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going through the coach's thing.
The page is not. It's giving me. It says something about the prevent calls from ringing in or something. Okay. I don't know.
But
something's going on. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, Jared. Medina looked good. He got out great, and not many times do you see a horse, lead wire to wire, and he did. And like I said, I'm mad at myself for not looking at Baffert's horse. He was 15-1. I mean, none of the experts picked it. So the one thing with Charlie, the guy who I like, Hot Rod Charlie, he got caught in traffic. If the jockey would have ran him a little bit better, I think he had a shot because he finished 3rd and he was coming. He just didn't have enough juice because, when you get stuck in traffic, Coach, and you got to maneuver through it. And what I mean by traffic was he was on the rail and he had somebody next to him. And then you got to kind of maneuver them to get out and get to the outside. And, he got past him and it really hurt. And, I didn't like the ride. I thought Charlie had it to win. But, Baffert also had the experienced jockey too. Right. And that's why Baffert's won 7, Kentucky Derbies.
Right. So, all right, gang. I appreciate it. Jared, I apologize.
Sorry, Jared.
Voice thing's not pulling up. It's still just spinning on me. So
credit to Jared. Jared did call. He said that Pittsburgh was going to take Najee Harris.
Yeah, he did.
I like to pick Jared, but man, they need some offensive linemen there.
Yeah. Well, the Bears just cut their Pro Bowl guy, started 58 games. 19. The Bears just cut the guy.
Today?
Yeah. I forget the guy, but they were a big surprise. They cut him, saved $9 million on the cap. So.
Hold on, let me just look that up. Yeah, are you sure about that?
Yeah, I was just watching the NFL Network earlier.
Oh yeah, hold on. Oh, Charles Leno. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he was a Pro Bowler, but yeah, he's one of
In
their.
2019, he was a Pro Bowler.
Oh yeah, he was an alternate in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Wow.
So there you go. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. Quick hour when we get into football. I tell you what, it just flies by. Appreciate everybody. Jared, I promise you, I'll get this straightened out, get you back on. We'll get your call in next week. So join us. Make sure you share it with your friends. Go to YouTube, like the page, ring the bell, tell your friends. We appreciate it, everyone, and we'll talk to everyone next week. We'll see you later.